What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is 5 ways British and American bathrooms are very different.
I believe you've never done this.
Well, I believe I may have done this like 4 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, a long time ago when I was first on the channel. You definitely haven't done this.
I've never seen this.
I haven't actually checked whether I've done it or not. I just feel like I would have done this.
I've never done it. So
yeah, you definitely never done this. So this is going to be something new. It's something I may have forgotten a lot of this stuff anyway. Hopefully it's new stuff to you as well if we haven't heard it in other videos. Launch's link is in the description as always. Smash the like button, smash that subscribe button. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
5 ways British and American bathrooms are very different. What we got?
And I've also aged 10 years in that time, and it shows. My joints aren't what they were, so getting in and out of the bath was a bloody nightmare.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to cleanliness. And one place that is absolutely synonymous with cleanliness, try saying that after 4 whiskies. I mean, I just did, but... is the bathroom. And believe it or not, I've not yet, in my 4.5 years of doing a YouTube channel on the differences between Britain and America, talked about the differences between British and American bathrooms.
Okay.
So that is what I'm going to do today. So, as my bathwater gets deeper than the Marianas Trench, here are 5 ways in which British and American bathrooms are so very, very different. Yes. Any Americans that have spent any time in Britain and vice versa will know that the way in which taps are presented is somewhat different, or at least can be. So having grown up in Britain, I was so very used to the taps being divided, not politically, that would be madness, but in terms of hot and cold. So washing your hands in a British sink goes one of 2 ways. Either you could just fill up the entire sink with both hot and cold water until it is warm and wash it that way with soap. Extra work, granted, but it does save on water usage. There is that. Or you could be really lazy, switch on the hot tap, do this, realise that it burns you, switch on the cold tap to cool it down, realises that that stings in a different way, and give up halfway through and suffer the consequences of poor hygiene. Now, I should mention that that is not entirely nationwide. There will be some bathrooms that unite the taps, and I was very happy to find after moving to the United States that it's not just commonplace in the US for that unification to happen. This is all sounding very political, needlessly so, but it's universal in the United States to have one central...
This is crazy because this is obviously an old video.
Yeah.
Because now I feel like in the UK it's more common to have taps.
I feel like
very old-fashioned houses.
Traditional houses, I don't know what year, let's say before the 2000s, I genuinely don't know, is the 2 taps.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, I've grew up in houses. You go into public bathrooms a lot of times, old buildings, 2 taps.
Yeah, but like posh, new, like not posh, but modern
Any new builds. I feel like if you get your bathroom done nowadays, if you're taking your sink out, whoever it is, they're going to get a mixer tap. Definitely.
Mixer tap.
Our sink is, I think everything.
I feel like my last house I lived with my mum was mixer tap.
I would say 90% of new builds are mixer taps unless they're going for a traditional look, which is then you go for the 2. But I mean, I'm sure you've used the 2 so many times before.
Yeah, definitely.
Sinks, baths.
Even like a school toilet.
School toilets.
Like primary school toilets.
Yeah, everything. So, it's something which is fading out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Tap, or as it's often known in the United States, a faucet. And this alleviated so many problems with washing hands. Now, I will find that I use far more water in doing so now. So again, there is that kind of give and take, but pound for pound, I'd prefer not to burn my hand off. Now, the separate taps in Britain go back to the fact that the taps and the plumbing is just really old, and you couldn't sort of mix the hot and the cold water back in the day, and it sort of stayed that way because of a lot of our buildings don't get demolished like they do in the United States, so they just keep that same old plumbing system. I mean, that's the watered down version of the explanation.
Yeah.
Do you see what I did there? Yeah. Anyway, speaking of water, that brings us on to our next entry. Whether you call it the toilet, the commode, the john, the loo, or the porcelain god, we can all agree that the toilet is one of the greatest inventions of all time, behind toilet paper, which I've just realised came after, as it always does. But when we are talking about Britain and America, there is one chief difference between how toilets are in those 2 countries, and it all comes down to one thing: the water level. So in Britain, you practically need binoculars just to make out the water level down below. Although if you do that, you run the risk of enhancing the size of other things. And the chief problem with it being so low, of course, is splashback. And you don't want that on a cold Monday morning, which again is why I was relieved to move to the United States, where the water level is really high. So when you come to...
That is actually really high, isn't it? Mm-hmm. If our water was that high, we'd be like, oh my god, it's blocked.
Yeah, we would.
It'd be a bit panic stations because it could rise. Splashback. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's got further travel, higher to go. You don't want that cold water touching you.
I don't feel comfortable talking about this.
It gets lost in the pond. I'm so sorry. Just flush all of that out of your memory as we pull the switch on entry number 3. Ooh, that's right, both countries use bathroom lights differently, but before you get the idea that Britain is still somehow using, I don't know, the candle, it's not the light source itself, but the mechanism by which we light it. In the United States, of course, this is almost always done using the light switch, and while that is also the case in a lot of UK homes and hotels and the like, you will find the odd, usually distinctly odd, bathroom in Britain where that very mode is essentially just a piece of string.
I love that in my mum's house.
Yeah, again, that's an old school one. Doesn't your mum's current bathroom have it with a bath in? Or not? Maybe it does. I think it does. I think it currently has it in there. Very old school. Kind of. I imagine in America you've got the pool car sometimes for emergencies. Kind of similar to that, because sometimes you'd have two, wouldn't you? Emergency and a light one.
We had the light one, then we had a fan one.
A fan one as well, yeah. But again, it's the same as a taps, I believe, just old school buildings.
The clicks. This can be very confusing for a lot of people walking in and not having a clue what that does. And to this day, I'm not entirely sure why it exists, but, in addition to a dripping tap and a comfortable bathtub, I'm tempted to believe that it was designed by a cat. And speaking of bathtubs, that brings us on to our final 2 entries.
A bath, okay.
I think it was the actor Burt Reynolds who said the most underrated thing in life is a nice hot bath. And I agree with Sir Burt. Was he a Sir? He wasn't even British. He was American. He was correct. Baths are amazing. And one thing I noticed after moving to the United States is that the surface of the bathtub is actually at the same level as the ground outside of it. That's quite novel to a British person because where I'm from, the bathtub is raised. So when I was in England visiting this past May, I'd forgotten this fact after 10 years of being away. And I've also aged 10 years in that time, and it shows. My joints aren't what they were, so getting in and out of the bath was a bloody nightmare, and I'm not afraid to admit it on live YouTube. So anybody from the United States who's visiting Britain that likes to have baths, keep that in mind. You may need to take a stepladder with you. Slight exaggeration. And speaking of baths and Americans that like to have them...
So is he saying that it's flat, you just walk into the bath? Surely you still got a panel there.
Surely.
Or is it saying the bath, you still got a panel which you got to step over, which I think is a hassle, and then it's level instead of being great? I don't know. Because our baths are technically raised above the floor level, isn't it? Even though you got a panel. But I feel like the hard work is getting over the panel, not the level of it. I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. I'm a bit...
I can't picture it.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused on that one.
That brings us on to our final entry. So it turns out that Burt Reynolds may well have been an anomaly when it comes to Americans that like to take baths. The truth is, it's not as big a pastime in America as it is in Britain. In Britain, we absolutely love to take
I love a bath.
And this is evidenced by the fact that there is one thing and one thing alone that America doesn't do bigger, and that is the bathtub. British baths just give you so much more room. You don't have to crunch your knees up, which is in fact how I ruined my joints. Because American baths are smaller. Not only are they smaller, but they don't recline as much, usually. I mean,
this is literally like the only thing ever we're bigger in.
You can buy specialist baths that do that, but for the most part, the standard bathtub in America has that back that's straight up, so you just have to sit there. And if you're a tall man like me, 6'1", then there aren't many easy options for that. You just have to suck it up and take it. One of the reasons is that, firstly, Americans just don't value bath taking as much as they do over showers, which is, I was about to say fair enough, but I don't think it is. You don't know what you're missing out on. They listen to Bert. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, He's dead, so he's not here to speak for himself, but I'm speaking on his behalf. Bathtubs are amazing, and hot baths in them are even better. But the other thing that it comes down to, I'm assured, is in the sort of real estate market. You know, real estate agents, or whatever you call them here, realtors, want to ensure that there's more floor space in the property that is being sold. So as standard, baths don't come bigger, and if you want them bigger, that's going to be a very big, hefty expense on your budget. Anybody who's been to Restoration Hardware will know that. So those were 5 ways that British and American bathrooms are so very different. The time has come to pull the plug on this episode. I'll stop now.
Mate, a classic Lawrence episode. Puns in there. Good fun, good laugh, and knowledgeable.
Yes, very knowledgeable.
Smash that button, smash that subscribe button, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. First time ever we've got something which is bigger, and that is the big bath.
Yeah, I thought I'll take that though. That's a good win.
Yeah, but if you don't have baths often, give it a go. A nice hot bath. Oh, I love it. It's time consuming, that's the issue. The shower's a lot quicker, but it's nice.
But
Just
you've
to
got
relax.
the time.
Smash that button, smash subscribe, and watch the video.
Have a fantastic day.
And we'll see you legends in the next one. Peace.